Don't you think you've had enough, KO?
Okay, we're live.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Nice to be here with you guys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and 4 of us. Cool. Good to have you with us, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm honored to be with you in the Reclaim Your Own-a-tron.
Special guest star.
Okay. So welcome. I see that 28 of you are already here.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to our webinar, The Chaotic Dance of Creativity, which is maybe not the most aptly named webinar. It was hard to find the right name for something as chaotic as the lover archetype. But here we are, and we have an hour together. I'm going to just start the slide presentation here. Let's see if we can get this working. Here we go. Yeah.
So
this is it's webinar number 2 in the Facing Chaos, the Archetypal Path of Getting Your Shit Together series. And it's nice to have you back, or if you're new, welcome to the series. Last Sunday, we did a presentation on the Magician webinar, or the Magician archetype, and really enjoyed that. And it seemed like a lot of you also did. So just see if there's a couple more people coming.
So are we sure it's not on YouTube or it's only here?
Well, I want to see here in the chat if you can see us and just fine, and you can use the chat. Well, please give us some confirmations in the chat that everything is working fine. Just type yes in the chat.
Hello,
right now.
Jose Maria.
Hi, Jose Maria. Good to see you again.
That's my coaching man. Jose Maria.
Ah, okay.
Alvin, Tim, Steen.
Yes.
Awesome.
Good. So
awesome.
Nobody's being redirected to
Claire, Steen, Evan, Raquel. Evan is our friend from the last run. I met Jim Campbell, Seth. Curtis.
Yes, it's fine. Both in YouTube and the other one. Thomas, can you post the YouTube link in the chat, please?
I don't think that's necessary this time, Richard. I think everything is okay. That we had some trouble the last time with the YouTube video not playing inside of the Webinar Jam interface, but it seems to be doing that just fine this time. So,
okay, good.
Can you confirm that you're seeing it inside of the Webinar Jam thing?
YouTube and this platform.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Good. I think we're ready to go.
Yeah.
Good to have the tech stuff out of the way. Okay.
So maybe we should decide where to post comments, here or on YouTube, because
please type comments inside of the Webinar Jam interface. That makes it all easier for us.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah. So if you were here the last time, or if you're a person from our life, then you already know us. But just in case you don't know us, let's just introduce ourselves. So I'm Ivan Figenskau Schellum. I am the founder of Reclaim Your Own-a-tron. I'm excited to be here.
My name is Carl Otto Sandvik. I am assistant course leader on the Reclaim Your Own-a-tron. I live in Denmark, and yeah, it's really good to be here for the second webinar.
Yeah, my name is Richard Arsick. I'm in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. I'm also an assistant course leader in Reclaim Your Inner Throne and the vice chair of Mankind Project Canada. And I am overjoyed to be here. My lover's flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my name is Paul Christian Bunz, and I'm also really happy to join you guys and everybody on the call. Me and Ivan started in one way the archetype work, or Ivan invited me into archetypical work and workshops, and so we co-created the Inner Throne process, and so I feel really honored and great to be back here with you guys.
Yes, I want to celebrate that a little bit, Paul.
It's like coming home.
Yes.
Yeah, because this concept of Reclaim Your Inner Throne, this idea actually came through a weekend that Paul and I had in his family's summer house. And we retreated there for a week to create a workshop based on these archetypes. And it was in that weekend together that the insights that led to this whole body of work started coming. And then to have you come back in now, Paul, it's just a real delight. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you here.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm running something called the Wildman program, which is more around sexuality, but also archetype work. So that's why I'm here. Also.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So our intention to give you a better idea of how to access creativity, recognize beauty, and enjoy life. I think that's as concise as we can get. Let's go through what we're going to spend our hour on. This is our table of contents for the time that we're going to be together. We're going to start with what is the lover archetype. And then we're going to build a bridge from the magician archetype that we covered last week and bring it over to the lover. And one of the things that we want to be doing in this webinar to stay with the theme is to share some intimate stories from our lives. And I will be sharing my journey with trying to bridge the magician and the lover. And then we will listen to Carlotto's story of sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
I might chime in there too.
Yeah. And we will move into exploring our work with addiction, which is a very core part of our work in Reclaim Your Inner Throne. And I know it is for you as well, Paul. So we have a lot of experience with that. Then we're going into a Rumi-esque passage of yearning for the beloved. This yearning that we all can feel somewhere deep inside of us to sort of come back home to the source. And Paul is going to help us with ideas on the tantric approach to sexuality. And you're going to be sharing your story, Paul?
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. And we're going to talk about how we can grow up this lover energy in our lives. And finally, after the main hour is done, we will have a special guest on, Curtis Murphy, who's an alumni from the last round of Reclaim Your Inner Throne. We will have a Q&A, and we will also deliver you an offer again, like on the last webinar. So stay until the end if you want an opportunity for some free coaching and some good deals. Okay, let's move on. So, what is the lover archetype? Any ideas? I don't know.
Were you asking us?
So we're not going to cover any of the ideas. Like we're not going to cover what archetypes are and where the ideas come from. so much on this webinar. We did that in the last webinar, but want to say that the system we're using is of Moore and Gillette, and they are very well known in the world of men's work, which we're definitely a part of, where the system King, Warrior, Magician, Lover, or Queen, Warrior, Magician, Lover for women is the model we're using. And so the lover archetype is one of these 4 qualities that in some way has a very unique role in this quartet of energies. It is the energy, the archetype of relationship, of connection, of intimacy. It is that part in us that yearns to surrender into union with our lover, that part of us that just really wants to be vulnerable and permeable to other people, that part of us that longs for celebrating pleasure and beauty and being alive in a material way. So you can think, for instance, of very pious religious people who have a very warrior magician approach to their spirituality, and pleasure in and of itself is considered sinful. And so you can see that the lover archetype in our culture, in our Christian, well, in pretty much all religious culture, the lover has been sort of repressed because it's not been easy to control, perhaps, you know, because it's this chaotic force of just, it can lead to hedonism, it can lead to celebration that gives us a direct experience of God. You know, the lover archetype is the archetype of mysticism. And if you think of Dionysian rituals, and, you know, you can just imagine these ancient Dionysian rituals, you know, where people just go crazy with wine and you know, love making.
Yeah.
And some of the stories would have it that, you know, there was such a frenzy of pleasure that people started, you know, tearing each other apart and that kind of thing. So obviously this lover archetype represents something very chaotic. You know, it is that place where boundaries disappear, and you and I, we become one. You know,
to me, the lover archetype is my heart. The heart is the symbol of the lover archetype in my version. So I'm always longing for a connection to my heart, and the pureness, the essence, that is like the one feeling of just connection. And it's not going have some kind of direction. It's just, yeah. And that's the one word we have written most books about, love, and written most songs about, and books and movies and everything about love. And it's about love. It's not love. See? So it's hard to put words on.
Carlotto, we were talking about you bringing us into a bit of a lover space.
Yeah, I can try to. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little drop in.
Oh, yeah.
Just maybe 1 minute
little drop in
for everyone.
Yeah. Just feel the weight of your body, straighten your back, place your head upon your spine, and take 3 deep breaths. Breathe into your heart. And let it expand and soften and relax. Just slowing down and I can feel my pulse in my chest. It's like this heart is working relentlessly to keeping me alive. Oh, I feel so strong. And breathe into all of your body. Just let your heart expand into your feet, your knees, your legs, and your thighs. Feel soothing, delicious energy flowing into all of your body. Into your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. Into your neck and your head. And breathe into your chest and your belly and just let it flow and grow and flourish and bloom. Welcome to the call. Bam.
Okay.
You've been loved.
Yeah.
Starting with loving ourselves.
Yeah.
Taking care of ourselves.
Thank you. Nice. It's a fun little anecdote from Robert Moore that, you know, it's an idea, and it seems very true that men have a hard time with this archetype. It seems like women have a bit of an easier time with it, and that maybe for the women, for you, it might be the warrior archetype that is harder for you to connect with. And when Robert Moore did map this out initially together with Gillette, he actually didn't start talking about the lover archetype until way into his work. For him, he didn't even have a concept of the lover. He was just working with the king and the warrior and the magician. And then he was just like, oh, you know, there's like relationships and beauty. And so that's just really just something that I find quite amusing, that the guy who's actually at the root of this, he didn't even conceive of its existence until way into starting to work with the archetypes. So, and I think in some way that's because he was a lot of like a strong magician, studying. Yeah.
Ivan, I've got, when you and Carlotta were talking about what is the lover, the word compassion came to me, and I thought, how come that word's not being shared, and how does that fit into the lover?
Fits real good to me.
Come means, come means together, and passion is coming from the heart. It's coming together in the heart. That's what it means to me.
I believe for me, when I hear that word compassion, I hear the meeting of the lover and the warrior. And because compassion is active, it's proactive. I move with it. So it's like I see someone suffer and I do something about it.
So the compassion emanates from you, the love emanates from you to that person that's in need, or
you intervene in a physical way, or you give money, or whatever it might be. It could be any
or compassion for self as well.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah,
sure.
Okay, just playing with that.
Yeah,
care for yourself.
So we were talking on the last webinar about this balance between intimacy and map making, and how the magician can sit up in his tower safely analyzing everything that's happening down on the ground. It's like, oh, look at those people walk over there, and okay, that's peculiar. And it can be like a very distant way, far away from life, finding out patterns, but being very safe, because walking down into the body, into the heart, into the chaotic realm of the lover, essentially. And whether that's what Robert Moore did when he didn't include the lover, I don't know. But yeah, my story is that I was raised in an academic home, and around the dinner table, my parents would always talk about work, and they would talk about, you know, whatever politics were part of, you know, the education sector, and they would talk in a frustrated way a lot of the time about all of the things that the politicians were doing, and maybe the teachers or the students or whatever, they weren't, you know, doing their work or whatever. So I was raised in this household where sort of that was the way that connection happened. We talked about people learning with their heads, and if they didn't learn with their heads and they didn't apply themselves to the pursuit of knowledge, then that was the kind of thing that would erupt in like frustration around the dinner table, like, you know, they're not doing it, you know, and so for me, bit by bit, you know, I started to understand that, okay, in order to be an okay person in this world, in order to be worthy of love, I would have to be one of those people that they would speak nicely about around the dinner table, so to speak. And my dad, he would always say, you know, it's going to be harder further along the ride. You can't rest on your laurels. You just need to work hard and study. And I just never had the sense that it was okay to be right here, and that it's enough to be me. Because, well, I've heard this story from a lot of men that they weren't blessed by their parents, or especially not by their dad, in a way that maybe I would understand. Growing older, I understood all of the amazing things that I had gotten from him. But then I didn't understand that I was loved. And the only thing that made sense to me was to become perfect. And so,
Yeah, just curious if it resonates with anybody. I see Evan, he's resonating with him.
Yeah, that's good. If anyone can see themselves in that story,
just plug yes.
I can.
Type yes, that's my story.
I had to be kind of successful. I needed to produce. I needed to be the perfect one, or like more like the successful one. That's kind of my role, to produce. Then I could be loved.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just last night with my woman, this played out when I was feeling afraid of abandonment all of a sudden. And sometimes happens, you know, when I get vulnerable, and then I popped into my magician tower, and I started to analyze everything, and she started to really miss me, and in that moment, you know, I don't know that I'm lovable as I am. And so I think, like, due to my childhood imprint, where I learned that the magician was sort of the ideal, I don't understand in a very intuitive way that it's actually okay for me to be me and be a human being with vulnerabilities and flaws, you know. And so this is how I disconnect from the lover, and I think this is the way a lot of us disconnect from the lover, and so that leads into addiction. Which leads into you, Colorado.
Addiction and obsession.
I'm afraid your audio is messed up.
Really scratchy.
Is this scratching? Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reboot this.
Okay.
I just want to say, Ivan, thank you for sharing so honestly and being so real with us. Really, that's touching me, and that's what I've been telling you a few times as well, Dan, I really feel you, and I feel the love for you.
Yeah.
It's like,
can we share the story from that weekend?
Yeah, feel free. Yeah.
You know, Paul and I were different people in many ways, but we've had a close friendship for many years. And one of the things that you have been sort of trying to show me again and again is that I'm lovable as I am, you know? And we had this weekend in this very same cabin where we created the Reclaim You in a Throne work, where I was feeling, I was still having at that point quite a strong inner critic inside of me. And I was just feeling down and useless. And I was, oh, you know, nobody loves me. I'm horrible. And then I laid on the couch. And then Paul comes over to me. It's like, oh, I love you so much when you're like this, Ivan. I'm like, what are you talking about? So all of my strategies have just crumbled, you know. And
yeah.
Can you hear me well now?
Yes, much better.
Yes.
Ah, cool. Strange. So I want to share something from my story. It's really connected to the lover archetype because it goes back to my childhood about you know, how to connect with your mother and just learn how to connect and feel seen and feel loved. And I guess somewhere on that line, it's like something happened, and I lost connection. So I really started to do a lot of stuff, as Ivan and Paul says, and maybe you too, Richard, to do something, to be something, to get to be seen. And I went to work, and I decided to go to art school. So art must be like when I'm good at drawing, so I can make drawings, and people can say, "Wait, you're really good at drawings." And then I have something worth. And I went to art school, and I went to 4 years in the Academy of Fine Arts in Oslo and really trying to express beauty and love through art. And there's a lot of things happen. So I was going into this deep work and really feeling myself deeply and expressing that through art. And it was so vulnerable for me, and I got pretty much too close to the sun in some way, so I got burned. And people admired my art, and they said, "Well, this is really good, KO." And I couldn't handle that acknowledgement I got. I couldn't handle that you know, well, they thought I was good, and what? So I just started intensifying my drinking, because that was kind of the way I soothed myself and just numbed myself out. And maybe, as you know, it creates the kind of addicted mind and addicted self and addicted way of thinking. So I got more and more obsessed about drinking instead of doing art. And I got more and more obsessed about seeking love from women, having sex with women, and yeah, basically my life turns to shit. And so I had to kind of figure out and use the magician to try to be creative with that obsessions, because the alcohol was killing me, and the woman was rejecting me, or I was rejecting myself because I wasn't in myself. I wasn't home. So I turned that obsession into recovery. So that was the solution for me. So I started quit drinking and start my recovery. And I've been sober for 16 years, and
yeah,
and still working on that addicted way of thinking, because it's not gone. I don't want alcohol, but I have that addicted mind. It's like it's fucking me up sometimes, and I feel obsession about things. So luckily I found the men's work. So when I do men's work, I heal myself. And when I help men heal, they help me heal. So that is the lover. I don't know what's it called, but it seems to work. And of course, I'm still sober, but I'm still struggling though.
K.O., what void were you trying to fill with all the booze and the women and
loneliness?
Yeah.
Emptiness.
Thank you. I felt that.
The lack of connection, as we talked about. I couldn't feel my heart. The connection was gone.
I imagine it would have been very painful to feel the heart too.
Yeah, it was a huge grief process to really open up and crack the heart open, because it was like a lot of scar tissue, you know. It was like crumbling a small, lonesome heart, and whoa. And now it's like expanding and feeling, and I'm not afraid of my feelings anymore. It feels good to come alive and come home to myself.
I love you.
Maybe that's maybe that is part of growing up the lover. Like you start to become comfortable and at ease with the movement of your emotion and sensation, because we don't control that, right? It just dances. I mean, to some extent we control it, but there's no such thing as absolute control over my own emotions, as far as I know.
No, but the addiction is pretty much faster than me. So I'm working myself into some kind of corners sometimes, and I get stuck. But then I know I have to call somebody. I have to reach out.
Exactly.
If I don't reach out, I'm disappearing. So I had to call. So reaching out is the antidote to chaos in some way. And that's dealing with addictions.
Yeah, and what is just coming to me now, and when I hear you talk, is like when you did the art as well, you didn't have the access to your emotional body, you didn't have access to yourself, and you wanted to create something outside of yourself. And then and people kind of say you are doing good, but you don't feel it. You maybe felt empty in your heart or something like that.
But ignored it, basically.
But it was probably showing up on your page as you were drawing.
What was showing up?
That longing. What was going on inside of you?
Yes. The art was acting out of the longing.
Yeah. I want to add something that I see a lot, and I don't know how well understood that dynamic is, but to me it seems very clear that, you know, all of these superstars and movie stars and very famous people that are being worshipped by millions, that are so self-destructive, and that often
that's all the light. You can't take all of that. It's too much, unless you have a really strong psyche. Really grounded.
It's the grandiosity, isn't it? It's the dragon that arises, and we can't hold the energy inside of us anymore.
No.
So we need to freak out some way to deal with that. And that's what we do essentially, like on Reclaim Your Inner Throne. One of the first thing, obviously, is to really establish a firm connection among the men, so that there is a holding space for the work that needs to happen. Right, so we form the brotherhood and the triads and everything, and then we can start with that connection as a foundation, with trust starting to build. Then we can start addressing all of these addictions, because, as you have pointed out, Bruce, healthy connection is the key. And we're not going to go into all of this wonderful research that is being done by Gabor Mate, and you have Johan Hari's famous TED Talk, and we're basically we talk about what we know really well, and that's what we do. And And so what we do is that we take the men into pulling away these addictive, evasive, what's it called? Evasive maneuvers, you know, the ways that we run away from ourselves by throwing energy around so we don't have to feel the intensity inside of us. Right? And that is that alchemical fire that we talked about in The Magician, to bring it back there, you know, that longing for connection and that longing for love and the beloved that we're coming to soon, that maybe we will never get fully satisfied, for all I know, right? That creates such a pain that we need to sort of self-medicate or whatever. And there is a way to actually start working with that when you have connection with other men or with other people. I don't want to, you know, exclude you women who are here.
It's the same for women.
It's the addicted lover, I believe, that drives a lot of our, as men for sure, the need for validation, the need to prove ourselves, to push ourselves, to go farther, to get somebody that says, "Attaboy." I know it drove me for years until I realized that it was significance I was looking for, rather than in trying to get certainty and significance from my life of chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the interesting thing that happens when we on the journey, at Reclaiming the Throne journey, when we cut down on the addictions, that's when the intensity starts boiling, and we start feeling ourselves, feeling our real body, our real life. And that's fucking scary sometimes, because most of us has been living on a lie, on an illusion of control.
And that's usually the spot where the men have the idea that they don't want to do this and they want to leave the course when they start to burn.
Then it becomes difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, in the Wild Men, how we are working there is we feel like the addiction is taking away the male power. So if we are constantly going to different addictions, we don't get the wild man inside of us. So to strip away the addiction, then some rawness coming, some emotions pop up, and there is the true power of being a man or a human being.
Shaking the cage. I just see that wild man shaking the cage from Robert Bly.
I'm curious.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, just curious, Paul, about the addictions you talk about. Would that be ejaculation, masturbation?
Yeah, so
getting rid of life force in that way.
Yeah, so in the tantric practice, there is we're saying that, and the Taoistic practice, you say like you're losing energy when you are ejaculating. So to take away or learning another way to start cultivating your sexual energy and starting to, because I think most men, and me included, didn't really learn how to masturbate. We didn't learn how to touch ourselves and make love to ourselves. It's a kind of a release to get away from pain and get away from
instant gratification.
And when we have an ejaculation, we can relax and
tension gone.
Sleep.
Well, again, it's that sensitivity and permeability that we as men often have such a hard time allowing, because it might make us like, maybe I feel feminine, maybe I feel like I'm, becoming gay and I don't want to be gay or whatever. Not that any of us have anything against that, but that kind of thing happens a lot.
And it comes now also like women testing us, and we were like, man, we are quite annoyed of women testing us, and like, oh, that's what I feel. but they are kind of our lie detectors to also kind of, when we are going to perform, we're going to be something or goal-oriented in sex or whatever, we're not really feeling into our bodies, and they kind of bust us and kind of you forgot this emotion down here.
Yeah.
That won't kind of. Yep.
And as well, Paul, if I use addictions all the time, I start losing respect for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what am I doing with my life here? I'm like, I'm a grown-up man, and I'm, you know, supposed to initiate a lot of men, and that's my mission. And here I am with my phone playing a frigging game for an hour. Like, if I do that, then if I do that too much, something starts to happen, and I'm like, oh, I feel like shit. What am I doing to myself? And then if a woman comes and says, "Oh, you loser," or whatever, you know, then it's just like, oh, that I'm screwed, you know. So that I think that's a really important point. That part of what can make me stand strong in myself and my manhood and my masculinity with my woman is that I actually live a life where I apply my life force towards constructive things and not just like bleh.
To live your purpose, to live in truth. Yeah.
Yeah. How about we go to this?
Yeah.
There you go.
Maybe you can segue that one, Paul.
No, I think we can make a small bridge from the addiction. When we take away addiction, then okay, there comes up maybe some suppressed emotion, anger, vulnerability, but beyond that, there is a place where it's untouched. And when you get the first spiritual experience of seeing that I'm something more, I'm more than this body, I'm more than who I thought I was. And this love and this heart and this infinitive being that we are beyond everything. So to return there and to be home in our heart and in our bodies and be fully embodied, it's like not even a woman can like take us. Is maybe not, it's not as good as to be really home in myself. It's like then I'm happy. So to have this experience and see that I have what I have been yearning for or longing for in my addiction has already been inside of myself. That's how I started with I started with going inner journeys and dropping through emotional levels and then into the source and into emptiness, and did like satsang for many years and was sitting in silence and just drinking in this beloved and listening to Rumi and or reading Rumi and this stuff in my own cabin. But it was also after a while I saw like I hadn't dealt with my sexual energy, but that is the next chapter. But then I want to hear about your journeys, how you are longed for your beloved, or what you did in order to go there.
I wonder, for those men who are present on the call, does this resonate with you? This idea that it's hard for you to really allow the depth of longing that you have for love and for, you know, just some kind of merging with your beloved. I'd be very curious to hear, because I think what's very clear to me is that it's very easy for this yearning for the beloved to get conflated with a sort of regressive longing for mother. And that I can start losing my masculinity, my sense of autonomy, because in this pursuit of some maybe more transcendent goal, or goal is probably exactly the wrong word for the lover archetype, but then somehow
feeling.
Then I become like
being,
sucking on mommy's tit or something instead, you know.
And isn't that exactly what drugs and alcohol do? They give us that sensation of being cared for in a way.
Yeah, I will agree to that, Richard, because a lot of the addictions, you take stuff to feel normal. You take stuff to feel okay just for a while, have a break. So that is like, and then they get shamed for it, and then it gets worse.
The cycle.
Instead of instead of holding the pain and healing the pain, you shame people for being using things,
or blame others for our pain.
Yeah, that's of course.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to thank you, Pete, for your honesty here, and Joel and Christian. Really appreciate you resonating with this. It's good to know. You know, we're not actually. We don't have a lot of time, and I just find that very fitting for the lover archetype. It's not necessarily so good with boundaries.
No, it's not. No boundaries in the lover.
No.
There's no boundaries.
Okay, are we done with this? Do you feel like we need to address this beloved a bit more? I was looking at you, Paul, wondering if you have something.
No, I can just, because I think we probably need to go on. And what I experienced was like suddenly the satsang and the meditation also become like hiding cave from life. It become another addiction of kind of being in the passive lover shadow. So I didn't really long for it, and it was a hiding place. And what I really started feeling a deeper longing for was my sexuality. And I didn't really know how to deal with my sexuality, because nobody had taught me about how to really do it. So I did satsang, and I sometimes watched porn. So I was kind of going from passive to, and I remember I was like, what to do with this sexual energy? I went to Ramana. I was like, what to do? And my teacher said,
I'm free, like, no desire, everything is bliss. Porn. I'm free.
There was this shadow, one passive and active, and like acting out, and I could feel like I was losing energy, and the same with women, interacting with women. When I was coming into relationship, I had a lot of sex, and then I just felt like I was losing power because I was ejaculating all the time, and but I didn't feel like this is a path of growth. And
you felt that the longing for dignity inside. It sounded like for wholeness, something more.
Yeah, and there must be a way. There must be a path, and another relationship crashed, and then I was like, okay, now I have to find out this tantric path. I have been kind of avoiding that because I was feeling I had some hidden shame around my sexuality and my cock and everything. And okay, let's expose this. Let's go into the tantric field and bring it on the table, and being more conscious around it. And then I started with non-ejaculation and trying to make love to myself more in a conscious way, and not going from no desire to 100 desire, but trying to slow down and touch myself, starting to cultivating my sexual energy and see if I can circulate it. So after a while, I managed to circulate the sexual energy, and I was like, wow, here is the kind of the dynamite power to really have spiritual experiences. And a lot of pain disappears in my body, and I got more creativity and more happiness, and I was kind of, okay, now I'm going on the right path. And I was exploring the tantric field, having a lot of sex, lived out all of my sexual shame. I had to meet myself a lot. It was hard spiritual practice, and really, but slowly I grew with it, and at the same time I could see after a while on the tantric path I could be too much in the active shadow, and needing group sex, needing more women, needing this and this and this. So it was kind of suddenly I was on the other side. And that's where suddenly, okay, I need to come back into my heart again as well. And finding this connection between the heart and the sexuality. And also really supporting the relationship. and being there with my woman, and that she's also with me. So I felt like the Tantra school was not really supporting the relationship and the love, which I feel like the mature lover is also able to stay in a relationship and build a solid relationship based on love and supporting each other to grow and mature, or help each other to mature.
Yeah.
Could you say that you use the sexuality from the tantric to enhance that relationship with your lover?
Yeah, there was, because first I had to learn to cultivate my sexual energy and body, and cultivate the presence in my body and be able to conduct my pleasure.
Yes.
Because when I think what a lot of men do wrong is like we increase the pleasure too much, or we want to perform, we want to be good lovers, we want to fix our woman and give them orgasm, and like, no, it's really to own my own body and own my own pleasure and breathe into it and relax. And from a relaxed place and from a consensual place where you ask, how would you like to be touched? Is there anything I can do for you to feel more pleasure? And like daring to be vulnerable, daring to really not know how I'm gonna have sex.
What about just taking her? Where does that fit in?
Yeah, so if it go into the kind of the wheel of consent, which is one of my practices now, then you have like the serving quadrant where you're serving her, but you also have the taking quadrant.
Okay.
So it's you can say, if you want to take, it's like, may I do this, may I do that, and then the woman go in allowing. And what is really good as well in the tantric path is to switch this polarity, that I'm not only the one who's going to perform, but I can also experience how it is to receive and how it is to allow touch. Because I think that's where I really learned about making love. It was like when I was in the receiving part. And I see so many men are forgetting that part. We're gonna be men and we are just gonna perform, we're gonna give them our orgasm. And it was not normal orgasm, then we're gonna give them tantric orgasms. So it's another performance anxiety in there. And then like, no, I don't know, I wanna receive. Can you touch me? Can you play with me? That's so healing for men to be able to receive. And for me too, it's a vulnerable space to go into.
One of the men here, Bruce.
I think we'll leave that for the Q&A, Bruce. What's wrong with ejaculating? I want to get through the slides on time, and then if you're still around, then Bruce, please confirm that you'll stay around for the Q&A, and I will address it then. Cool. Okay, here we are.
Getting your heart together.
Oh, hey, you're breaking up again.
Getting your mic together, maybe.
Oh, God.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of words for one slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
So how can you mature your lover, Ivan?
Well, I'm going to answer that in a very personal way. My way is, well, it's different when I'm with my woman and when I'm with myself. I mean, there are different practices, obviously. When I'm with my woman, the most important thing for me is to just allow myself to drop really deeply into the moment and to be there and to allow my feeling. Because what I do as a defense, even though this is what I teach men for years now, to really tap into their sensation, their somatic wisdom, I think I teach it because I still have this as a defense, that I will pop up, and then I will literally, I will feel that I'm in this equanimous sort of cool space, but actually what's happening is that I'm somehow above my feeling, and then my woman just like, you know, where are you, or something like that, and what I have access to in that moment is analysis or reflection or contemplation and that kind of thing, whereas just looking her into the eye at that moment, I don't have the presence in my body to really feel the connection. So it's again and again to just like, whew, like I am. Oh, can I really trust that I'm good enough in this moment, and that I don't need to do something special for people to love me? And the more I do that, the more I feel my body, I feel the presence of the moment, I feel the moment open up, and it's like when the moment opens up, it's like flowers in springtime just coming out of the earth, you know. It's like reaching for the sun. There's all of a sudden there's a whole new reality unfolding out of what was this dry place just previously, and it's always a sense of somehow coming into my body and in my heart, and exactly how that happens is hard to say. It's really hard to say, but I know.
Yeah,
surrendering. You're giving up. Stop
yes,
thinking,
of course.
just being.
Giving into the fear.
Yeah, and for myself, it's just setting aside time for self-care, to take time out of work and trust that somehow I'm taken care of, even though I can have my challenges.
I'm just remembering one of the exercises from the Inner Throne journey is about seeing. Use your eyes and just see colors, see lines, see structures, see cars, see whatever, and just enjoy the fascination of things.
Well, that's something I want to encourage the listeners now, Carl-Otto. Sorry for interrupting, but you're bringing a great point. It's like in this moment, those of you who are listening to us, just like look at your surroundings and feel like you're touching it with your eyes.
And smelling it.
Like you're not like back here, like reaching out with your vision. No, you're actually like touching it. Like you're in relationship with it.
No judging.
See if you can do that in this moment. And if you get a sense of what this is, love to see in the chat. Like you may even use the periphery of your vision, because it's a different quality there. Almost as if you have like fabric. Your field of vision is fabric touching your surroundings. Is this making sense to you guys and gals?
No, exactly not. It's not supposed to make sense.
And I always like to add
my brain goes totally quiet, and I am in this space. I don't think. I don't judge. I don't whatever. I just
I like to form a picture inside with all the senses. The seeing, the smelling, taste the air that you're breathing in the moment. Feel any breeze or anything that's on your body, the sun, whatever it may be. Just feel all aspects of it, and just use your body as one big transmitter and create your own version of what that means for you.
I think the more you can do that, the more you are in touch with the lover. The more you can be present in whatever is right now. just sensing and feeling and seeing and
beyond reason.
Beyond reason. It's just, this is what it is.
I feel my root all alive right now.
and then I want to tap into the tantric practice of starting to like just touching yourself and like giving yourself a small massage and like, okay, feel your body and touch, and because that also bring up the oxytocin and like feeling the pleasure of the body. And exploring the body.
And self-care. Go out and get massages and acupuncture and all those things that can enhance what's happening inside. Break through the shells.
Celebrate life. Bottom line.
There's a paradox here. Like, to grow up your lover as a project is in a way impossible.
Yeah.
Because the project or the goal-oriented mind is the antithesis of the lover. And still, it needs to be a practice. So it's a little bit of a paradox. Like, to set aside time to just touch yourself or go slow, sing, dance. You know, what I really had to do, because I have a home office. And when I'm in a work mode, I just hammer away, and I can just forget my needs as a physical being. And so I started playing the guitar, and now I just sit down for 10 minutes in the middle of the working day, and I suck, but that's not important, because I connect with joy and with pleasure and with like, oh wow, you know. And so every opportunity that you have in the middle of a hectic life, just put life on pause and set aside time to enjoy yourself. Because if you don't know how to take a break and enjoy, it's going to come out in this really neurotic, erratic, kind of like addictive kind of way. And it's not good.
No.
So that's what we have. And we're going to, if everything works, we're going to be joined by Curtis Murphy very soon, and he's going to share his story with us. So this is the end of the main program, but if you'd like, we're going to, if you want to ask some questions, and if you want to meet Curtis and hear his story from what happened with him on Reclaim the Inner Throne, then do stay behind. And we're also going to give you some nice offers at the end of this.
Yeah.
So
thank you all for
being here.
So you're welcome to stay, of course. Love to.
So just before we move on, next Sunday we're going to have a webinar that I imagine is going to have a very different feeling. It's the warrior webinar, which is in some way the exact polar opposite to the lover. It is boundaries, borders, proactivity, getting shit done, suffering for the sake of a higher cause, so on and so forth. But the way these two play together is total sexy time. So
looking forward to it.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Okay. So as we did last time, we want to give to you. This is no strings attached offer. If I know that we have a winner of the last competition here, so you cannot apply, I'm afraid, Phil, but I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon. Let's see just if I can get this up and running. So on the box that you see now, it's a combined offer. You will, when you click this link, yes, tell me more. You can see it, guys. Can you?
I think you have to click on the little megaphone.
Yeah, but I have.
Oh.
I think it's showing.
Oh, yeah, I had to click on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you click on the megaphone. Yeah. So as a part of this webinar series that we're doing, we want to give you $500 off this Reclaim Your Inner Throne journey that we put together, and that we take about a dozen men through every 6 months. And it's an amazing journey, really life-changing, which, if everything goes okay with Curtis, we will hear his story soon. So this is like for you who, there we have him. This is for you if you don't quite know where you're going with your life as a man. If you're feeling frustrated somehow that more is possible and you can't seem to quite get it out, or you're feeling like you don't know if you're a man or if you're a boy, or if you're feeling like deep suffering in your day-to-day experience, or if it's just that subtle sense that something is a bit off and you want help, then you're warmly welcome to join us for Reclaim Your Inner Throne. We start on the 2nd of April, and you will find more information when you click the button in the offer. There you will also find information on how you apply to get a free coaching call. We will give you one from Reclaim Your Inner Throne, one of the three of us, and Paul will give you one. And so what you will have to do basically is to share what you got out of the webinar and why you want a free coaching call in the Facebook comments there, and we would love to coach you for free.
Mm-hmm.
And there are the group is the one who get most likes will get the coaching call. So we are not deciding it.
No, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
So you decide amongst yourselves.
It's a community effort.
Yeah.
I see that Curtis is in the room, but somehow he's not fully in the room. I don't quite know why. Curtis, if you can see this, enable your webcam and your microphone, please. It's a little toolbar at the top. Curtis Murphy. Turn.
Do you have to send another link to him?
He's got the right link. Well, I guess we have a little bit of a tech glitch.
Is he on YouTube?
Is it possible, if he can't show, is it possible to show his testimonial with this woman?
The video.
I don't think I can do that. Let's see. Broadcast video. No. I'm going to send the link to him one more time and see if that helps. And in the meantime, maybe you can share a little bit about what makes you passionate about this work.
Ooh.
Well, for me, I know that the world isn't working as well as it could, and I don't have all the answers to make it work that way. And what I desire to see more of in the world probably won't happen in my lifetime, or maybe bits and pieces and small pockets of it. But the work that I do with men through this organization, through Reclaim Your Inner Throne, is my mission in action as fathers start to show up differently for their children.
Yeah.
And that's the change. That's the change that's going to come up from the ground, from the next generation, because men are out there showing up in a much more positive way on this planet. And my mission is I co-create a world of awakened men through healing myself and sharing that journey with the world. And the more I share, the more I like to think that the change is occurring. One person at a time, one man at a time, as he shows up differently. And that's why I do this work. It's important to me.
Oh, I love that, Richard. Feel your fucking power, and your heart is like boom, boom, boom. It's an honor to work together with you.
All right, back at you, man.
Yeah.
So there is a connected story to why I do this work, because I was in the middle of my divorce. I was drunk for day 3 and just stumbling around in some party, and a guy kind of grabbed me and he said to me, well, that doesn't look much fun for you where you are right now, is it? No, I'm in the middle of divorce. I got a 6-year-old son, and I'm in a foreign country, and I don't know what to do. So he handed me his phone number and said, you call me when you sober up, and I will have a talk with you. Really? So I called him, and he started helping me, and we drank a lot of coffee in his kitchen, and no alcohol, not all the time. But he helped me to the lawyer, to the court system, to the social system, and he kicked me in my leg when he was at the lawyer. You have to tell the truth, KO. And so he believed in something in me
that you didn't see in yourself.
I had forgotten that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah. So he trusted. I had to trust him because he trusted something in me I had forgotten. So, and basically, that is the core of what I do. I trust the guys. I trust everybody, especially when they don't trust themselves. So I'm holding that trust for them during the journey, and then they can carry it by themselves.
I see you want to speak, Paul. I just want to add something to what Carl-Otto said. There's something, okay, so you're saying there that you met this guy and he saw something in you that you had forgotten that was there.
Yeah.
Or you weren't even aware of it. And I believe that is one of the things that we do, that we have to do when the men come and they're suffering or they're wanting more or whatever. And we start tuning to what is the gift of this man. And then really like, wow, what would it be like, challenging the man to step into this? And
not only what is good for him, but it's the ripple effect, as Richard talked about. Like, he got kids. Maybe he is not kids yet, but he's got a woman, he's got a family, he's got an environment, he got a workplace. When he shows up more honestly, more truthful to himself, that's ripple effect is what creating the change. So it starts with everybody inside, every man.
Yeah, and I think together we are so much stronger. It's like, I think a lot of us men, me included, I need to do it myself. But no, I think we are so much stronger when we can come together as men and discuss our difficulties and mirror each other and finding the strength and challenge each other to become the man we really want to be. And I love that, and the brotherhood, the coming together, loving each other, challenge each other, competing against each other, and having this honesty together and sharing whatever is there. And then naturally the love amongst the men grow bigger and bigger. And that's what I love with the men's work. I feel that myself love, and then I feel love for other men too.
Yeah.
For some reason, the technology is failing us with Curtis, which is a real bummer, because I was really, really excited to have him come. But he said for me to share the story It's a short story. It's a sweet story, and you will see the story on the page that we sent you. It's really the story of Curtis being married to a woman that wanted a child, and he didn't because he didn't feel ready, like afraid, or like it would be a burden or something like that. And during the process of really becoming clear on all of the places where he was hiding from himself and all of the potentials that he hadn't really owned in himself, somehow things started recalibrating inside of him, and so he conceived a child in the middle of Reclaim Your Inner Throne, and it was quite exciting. And we've now had another child being conceived from last round of Reclaim Your Inner Throne. So we're a baby making training. So watch out.
Yeah,
watch out, guys.
There's another man from the last round that's same. Yeah, 2 guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I heard. Maybe it's no secret for somebody.
Paul, is this the time to address Bruce's question about what is wrong with ejaculating?
Yeah, I don't want to phrase it that something is wrong with it, because
exactly.
if you do that, you can put more shame on it. So so it can be a good release, and yeah, it's a pleasurable thing. But I think if you want to grow as a man, you can this energy you're putting out of yourself through an ejaculation, if you kind of hold into that energy and not at the same time not suppressing your sexuality, but learn how can you circulate this sexual energy and bring it, like with what the Taoists are saying, the microcosmic orbit. So you bring in the energy from your cock down, up and down in the perineum and up through your spine, so that you can have full body orgasms. And these orgasms give you more energy and you feel more recharged also afterwards. And when you learn to cultivate your sexual energy, you can last so much longer in bed, because most men, when they ejaculate, they can't keep going anymore. So it's kind of, or they need to break, and some scientists saying that you lose some energy in days after you have done it, but there needs to be more science on it and more research. But my experience when I stopped ejaculating was like a lot of pain disappeared in my body, and I got more energy to do really what I wanted. And it was one of my core of my addictions, because when I was low, I could eat some chocolate, or I could eat some whatever, go on Facebook, and then suddenly I was also on porn, and then like I lost so much energy and focus and creativity and mind focus. So
I said, like, ejaculating is kind of like a core addiction that leads to other things. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I see. It's like a lot in my work. It's like the man, when they are having an ejaculation, so it's then they lose energy, and then also they add on to that, they more Facebook, more chocolate, more coffee, more sugar, and maybe alcohol, whatever, and then we are not feeling as juicy and alive as we can be.
Is there any difference with age, like when you before your male menopause or after? Is there anything you can say about that?
Yeah, I think the older you get, the more important it is to kind of hold on to your sexual energy. That's also what the Taoists are saying. And then you maybe feel the effect of it more. Because when I was in my teens, I had like 3 ejaculation a day. But if I had like 3 ejaculation, or if I could have 3 ejaculation in one day today, it's like, oh, I would be really smashed. But at that time, it was more easy. But,
thank you, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks, Thomas.
So If there are any more questions, then this would be the time to share them. Otherwise, we're going to wrap it up.
Oh. This is a juicy call. I like it.
We must have just given them everything they wanted.
Or maybe they all came and now they have no energy.
Yeah, they're all jerking off now.
Okay. So yeah. That's all. So if you want more information about Paul's program, it's wildmanprogram.com. And obviously we are Reclaim Your Inner Throne, inner-throne.com. And would love to see you on our next round starting 2nd of April. It's going to be awesome, and I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming, everyone.
If you guys have any questions about where you're at in your life or where you want to go, arrange a coaching call, an enrollment call with one of us, and let's just see where you're at.
Yeah. No binding agreements. All you have to do is you have to book this enrollment call by midnight Central European time on Tuesday to get this $500 discount. And that's all. Okay, everyone. It was a pleasure to have you. It was a very different webinar than the Magician, more flowing. And I think that's very appropriate.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Thanks, everybody.
Well, okay, let's do it. Okay.
Right.
Bye, everyone. See you next Sunday for the warrior for kicking ass and discipline.
Yeah.
Ciao.
Thank you, guys.